afternoon, everybody. My name is Jim Piepa. I'm the president of the Chamber of Commerce this year, and on behalf of the Chamber and the City of Evanston, I'd like to welcome you all to the annual State of the City Address, and thank you all for being part of today's sellout crowd. I think this is the biggest head count we've had at this event in a very long time, so thank you all for being here. I'd like to thank real quickly our chamber staff, Elaine Kemna Irish, Anna Garrido, and Kara Holzoffel, for putting this event together. And I'd also like to give a very, very big thank you to our presenting sponsor, North Shore University Health System, seated right here at this table. And I had the pleasure of having lunch with these folks. You all should know that you're a very important part of our community, and I and the Chamber Board are very grateful for your support of this event again this year. We have a number of dignitaries, important people, longtime supporters that I think it's important to acknowledge by name, because these are the people who really day in and day out make the big contributions that make Evanston as successful of a community as it is. So I'm going to go through the list. Quite frankly, it represents probably about half the people in this room. But you know what? I'll run through it quickly, not to try to keep us on track. But again, it's important. It's important that these people get acknowledged, because I'm sure it doesn't happen every day. So of course, the Honorable Mayor Elizabeth Tisdale and Honorable Mayor Lorraine Morton are with us. Thank you. I believe that we are represented by every aldermanic person in the city today. Judy Fisk, Peter Braithwaite, please feel free to wave an arm or stand up and get your acknowledgement. Melissa Wynn, Don Wilson, Dolores Holmes, my favorite, Mark Tindem, Eleanor Ravel, my second favorite, Ann Rainey, and Brian Miller. Thank you all for being here today and for doing what you do. I'm not going to go through this list of names, but I'd like the members of the Evanston Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors that are with us today to please stand up and get a quick acknowledgement from the crowd for being part of this. Other community leaders that I'd like to acknowledge, Mr. Wally Bobkowitz, our city manager. Our city clerk, Mr. Rodney Green, is with us. President of Northwestern, Mr. Morton Shapiro, is here today. Thank you very much for being here. I know you've probably got about at least 100 other places you probably could have been, so we're thankful to have your time. Margaret Lee, the president of Oakton Community College. Mr. Eric Witherspoon, superintendent of District 202. Mr. Paul Gorin, superintendent of District 65. Our school board members and officials, Tracy Quattrocki, Richard Reikus, board members Omar Brown, Candace Chow, Claudia Garrison, Suni Karta, Jennifer Phillips, 202 President Pat Savage Williams, and Vice President Mark Metz, along with board members Jonathan Baum, Doug Holt, Gretchen Livingston, Monique Parsons, Ann Sills, and Camille Allen. Thank you all for taking care of the children of Evanston. Those are the folks that, make the policy so that the folks coming up, the young people coming up in this town who are our future, make sure they come up in a good way. State officials as well, Senator Daniel Biss. State Representative Robin Gable. I'm not sure if the Congresswoman is here, Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky. I'm not sure if she was able to make it today. Laura Fine, Representative Laura Fine, Senator Heather Staines, and Representative Kelly Cassidy should also be acknowledged for what they do for us. Our County Commissioner, of course, Larry Suffredin. I don't know if you're here, but thank you for your work as well. Our Police Chief, Chief Eddington. Our Fire Chief, Chief Kleiber. And some other, just a couple other important people who make a big contribution to the community in their own way. Mark Dennis, CEO and President of the McGaw YMCA. Karen Singer, CEO and President of the YWCA. And Seth Green, Executive Director of YOU. Again, these are the people who do the work every day that, all plug in so that the community of Evanston can be what it is, which in a few moments you're going to hear is pretty awesome. Having said that, I ask for your forgiveness for anybody whose name I missed, but I know that you're all important to us. And finally, before I turn this over, I want to say that today is an auspicious day as well for the Chamber because it's the start of the first ever Evanston Restaurant Week. I want to acknowledge the work of our Chamber's Restaurant Committee. We're proud to kick this thing off, which is a week-long celebration of the culinary genius of Evanston restaurants, their chefs, and their staff. You all know how lucky we are to live and work and dine in Evanston. This campaign is a really important step so that we keep Evanston known as the dining destination in the Chicago area. I'm very grateful to all the folks on the restaurant committee that worked hard and pulled this off in a real short period of time. And I'm also thankful to the sponsors that we received to help make this event go off. It says a lot about a company when they step up and take a leadership role in a new venture, and we're hoping this is a new venture that is going to last for many years to come. So I'd just like to give a quick shout out to Samick Corporation, the Highland Baking Company, and our main sponsor, Gordon Food Service. General Manager Hans Hansen and Sales Manager Dan Hart are here. Thank you for helping us get this thing started. Like you needed another excuse to go out and for dinner or lunch. But this is it. There's going to be some great deals, some great specials out there, so support your local eateries. Thank you. You can see all the details for that on the back of your program today. So finally, it gives me real pleasure and sense of pride to introduce my fellow Chamber Board member and the Senior Vice President at North Shore University Health System. So please welcome Ms. Gabrielle Gabrielle Hatley.
No problem, Jim. I just got married, so people are still transitioning to my new last name. So thank you, Jim. Good afternoon, everyone. How are you doing today? Good. Again, good afternoon and welcome to the 2016 State of the City Luncheon. My name, as Jim Pipa mentioned, is Gabrielle Hatley, and I am Senior Vice President at North Shore University Health System's Evanston Hospital. It really is my privilege to speak with you for the second year regarding the work that we do to support and enhance the health of our community. But before I begin, I would like to thank our Chamber Board President, Jim Pipa. I'd also like to thank Chamber Executive Director Elaine Kimna-Irish, Chamber Director of Membership and Marketing Anna Garrido, and Manager of Administration Kara Hozapfel for their continuous commitment to bring value to all Chamber members and Evanstonians by organizing this and many other events. At North Shore University Health System, we are proud of the work we do for our community and find it a privilege to serve all who walk through our doors. This year, we provided care to over 470,000 patients at Evanston Hospital, and we're fortunate enough to touch the lives of over 215,000 individuals. While caring for our community, we also provided $252 million in community benefit, with $21 million for free and discounted care to those in financial need. As a testament to the care we provide, we were proud to receive recognition as one of the top 100 hospitals in the country for our 17th year from Truven Analytics, an organization that evaluates overall hospital performance on key measures such as financial stability and patients' perception of care. As we reflect on the care we provide for our community, we also reflect on our organizational challenges as well as our industry-specific challenges. One of those challenges, and quite frankly, opportunities, is the merger between North Shore and Advocate. Earlier this year, we received less than favorable news from the Federal Trade Commission regarding the merger. But despite this news, North Shore and Advocate remain steadfast in our commitment to come together for the betterment of the patients and communities we serve. We believe that bringing together our two organizations will lower costs, enhance care, and expand access while driving innovation. Another challenge that we, and quite frankly many other healthcare organizations face, is providing healthcare in a post-Affordable Care Act era where hospitals are being paid differently today than in prior years, moving from a per visit or per test payment to being reimbursed based on the value of care we deliver. While moving to value-based care is best for patients, and quite frankly, again, long overdue in our industry, there is significant work to be done to align all constituents, such as insurance companies and clinicians, in providing that care at lower costs. In spite of the challenges and opportunities we face, our commitment to the community is steadfast. This year, we are thrilled to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the ETHS Health Center, where we provided health care for over 800 students, representing 3,200 visits. We also continue to educate schools and local leaders on the importance of rethinking your drink, a public campaign to educate and change behaviors as it relates to negative health impacts of consuming sugar-sweetened beverages. We also support the Evanston Cradle to Career program to ensure that by age 23, all Evanston young adults will lead productive lives. And last but not least, we are proud to be the second largest employer in Evanston, with around 800 of our employees living in the Evanston community. As we look into the future, it will be critical that all healthcare organizations find ways to be differentiators. At North Shore, we are proud to answer that calling through the work we are doing in personalized medicine and pharmacogenomics, which is the science of how a person's unique DNA affects their response to certain medications. This year, we are the first healthcare organization to launch a pharmacogenomics clinic where the information gained from DNA research can be used to customize medical treatments, ensuring that patients receive the right medication and the right dose at the right time while minimizing the side effects and adverse reactions to drugs. In addition to differentiating healthcare through the use of pharmacogenomics, we've made significant strides in the digital health arena by developing our own North Shore app and the supporting technology which allows patients to receive text messages about appointments, test results, and even add themselves to the waiting list for earlier appointments. In closing, healthcare is an ever-changing and exciting industry. We look forward to embracing those changes by being a healthcare differentiator and continuing the community partnerships that are critical to what we do every day. We thank you for your continued support of North Shore University Health System and would like to thank you for being active in the Evanston Chamber, as well as making Evanston a great place to live and work. Without further ado, I would like to introduce an individual who is passionate about all that she does in the community that she serves, our mayor, the Honorable Elizabeth Tisdall.
Thank you very much. If you want to know about the state of the city, sometimes it's a good idea to see ourselves in the way others see us. Anna Galland invited me to an early Thanksgiving dinner with Syrian refugees. The invitation came from the daughter of friends of mine. Jan Schakowsky was coming. It sounded like a wonderful event, and there was going to be free food, so I accepted. Several Syrian families came. They had lived in Evanston before moving to Chicago for cheaper rent, proximity to services, and to a larger refugee community. They are people with grace, humor, and hope. I like them very much and am in awe of them. A high school freshman spoke to me without an interpreter. She said she liked Chicago's and Evanston's schools, but the Evanston schools were the best. Her mother said that the chute teachers gave the children rides when the parents could not. Here's what they said about all of us. The people in Evanston are so friendly, nicer than anywhere else. That's a great state of the city. This is also a story of children moving back to Evanston to raise their families. Anna and her family moved to Evanston, putting grandparents near their children and grandchildren. A city is doing well when that happens. That, by the way, is what all grandparents want. Then there's MoveOn.org. I thought I was going to have dinner with Syrian refugees and my friend Ellen's daughter. But there were also TV cameras all over the house. Anna is the executive director of MoveOn.org, which is very important. I am not allowed, according to my children, to admit that I did not know what MoveOn.org was. So don't tell. But I did know it was very important. And it's in Evanston, which is where it should be. There are other ways to view our city. Bo Bradford's funeral was Friday, January 29th. A 20-year-old young man, a Kurtz Cafe graduate, who was about to start a full-time job that city outreachers helped him obtain, was the victim of gunfire on a quiet street where his mother lives in Evanston. Reverend Cherry spoke eloquently at the services about not retaliating and stopping the violence. Alderman Braithwaite and I delivered the same message. The adults applauded. The young people were polite and quiet. That afternoon, shots were fired near Family Focus. Alderman Holmes and I knew what we needed to do. Ask Paul Gorin to stop all buses from delivering children to the Fleetwood Jourdain Community Center and to Family Focus. I felt horrible as I realized why I knew what to do. Shots had been fired in that area at the same time once before. Shots did not used to be fired at community centers. Shots were not fired at 3 in the afternoon. Shooters didn't want to hit their little sister, nephew, cousin, or friend's child by mistake. Now they don't care. We need to acknowledge a serious problem in Evanston, and we need to work together to solve it. Pastor Cherry is right that African American young men are killing one another. To quote him, "We are doing it to ourselves. It's our problem." I don't like to disagree with Pastor Cherry, but we are one city, 8 square miles, full of our homes, our community centers, our schools, our recreation programs, and our residents who must solve the problems in our city. It's everyone's problem. Bo's mother's grief has tentacles that reach throughout the state of our city. Her grief must touch us all. What are we doing? We have an incredibly talented outreach program, an ever-expanding Mayor's Summer Youth Employment Program, and funds to help families relocate to save the lives of their heavily gang-involved teens. We have 2 Ys, YOU, YJC, Kurtz Cafe. We are rich in services for youth, but we need to be smarter. To that end, Director of Health Evonda Thomas-Smith asked the Center for Disease Control to send us 3 interns to study violence in Evanston as a public health problem. If we can change people's behavior in terms of healthier diets, smoking cessation, and safe sex, we can change violent behavior. The CDC just turned us down, so our Director of Public Health already has a Northwestern University intern assigned to the case. We will apply to the CDC again. Many people have done wonderful work on this issue, but we are not getting the results that we need quickly enough. We have to do more. We will do more with or without the help of the federal government. Another view of the state of the city comes from our seniors and their work. Evanston is on its way to becoming a more age-friendly city. The city of Evanston is part of global, national, and regional movements of communities that are striving to create urban environments that foster healthy and active aging and the well-being of older people. Residents, former residents, and professionals employed in Evanston are working hard on this initiative. Evanston has an age-friendly task force. We have task forces for everything. Task force members and their individual committees are analyzing the physical environment in the community and studying what affects our mental and social well-being. This analysis has been conducted through simple fundamental conversations, surveys, focus groups with residents, and roundtable discussions with professionals. The feedback indicates Evanston is a good place to live. People want to stay here and age gracefully. It is our hope that this plan will help them to do just that. The Mayor's Summer Youth Employment Program jobs each have a story or multiple stories to tell. This is my favorite. A young man came into my office to ask for a raise. I don't know why he thought the mayor could give it, but anyway. He started working for the city in 2009 in the Mayor's Summer Youth Employment Program. He did very well at the city and at Evanston Township High School, in spite of being periodically homeless. He's been working part-time at the city for the last 6 years. He's now a graduate of Evanston Township High School and a graduate of Northwestern University. I said, "What are you doing in my office talking about a $1 an hour raise? You need a career plan." He said he's applied to Yale and Michigan's law schools. That sounded like a career plan to me. Congratulations, Morty and Eric. This story says volumes about what good things you were doing. And, by the way, the young man did get his raise. Best practices tell us that providing 1,000 summer jobs will reduce violence. There is a tipping point where the number of students who are working, earning money, creating resumes, and thinking about careers changes the culture on the street. Currently, we have 650 jobs and 685 students applying for jobs. That's a change from 7 years ago when we had 168 jobs and over 400 students applying. We can have an extra 600 jobs at Great America, jobs teens like, because Metra has promised reduced rates that will leave our young people with enough money left over after paying for transportation to make working at Great America worthwhile. If you know anyone on the Metra board, please say thank you. If you know a young person who's looking for a job, or even more importantly, a young person who ought to be looking for a job, please tell them to contact Portia Davis at the city. This is historic. We have more jobs than applicants. From sessions at the U.S. Mayor's Conference on Policing and Prevention, and from reading Combating Youth Violence in American Cities, it is clear that we have most of the partnerships and programs that are recommended. Crime is down 5%. This translates into 104 fewer victims. Worthy of specific mention, aggravated battery is down 17.2%, robbery is down 5.6%, burglary is down 6.3%. Kim Fox, the Democratic nominee for state's attorney, promised me that she will prosecute homicides in Evanston. That will help a great deal. The Evanston Police Department retained the services of native Evanstonian and noted diversity expert Dr. Gila Logan to provide long-term training to all members of EPD. The goal is to optimize interactions between officers and those they encounter of different races and cultures. On February 23rd, Dr. Logan led a community-wide diversity dialogue at the Levy Center. It was no holds barred. This public input is a valuable component to the development of the program's course content. We do not have a perfect police department, but we do have an excellent police department, and we are always trying to do better. Our September 2015 violence reduction strategy includes assigning 2 members from the neighborhood enforcement team and tactical unit to work at recovering firearms. In addition, there's an ongoing gun buyback program. We are trying to get the guns off the streets. Mayor Emanuel advised checking our laws to find out when we could release a video of an officer-involved shooting. We have not, I found out, thank you, Mayor Emanuel, released the video of the bank shooting that is 2 years old. The state of Illinois, Cook County, and the state's attorney have not completed their investigations. Ours is done. I trust our legal department will find a way to allow for more timely release of videos should the need arise. There's good news. There's always good news. Northwestern University donated $25,000 to renovate the recording studio at Gibbs Morrison. That's terrific, but that's not the good part. What's best is that Northwestern University's only request was that the studio be named after Alderman Dolores Holmes. Remember 6 years ago when the city gave a welcome to Evanston party for Morty and Mimi Shapiro at what was then Boku? We wanted to show off some of the wonderful diversity in Evanston. 6 years later, Morty, you know so well that you've picked the best name out of 75,000 residents, the very best name to put on the recording studio. Toward the end of this speech, which was written before you did that, which messed me up, I called you the world's best university president. Now I feel I have to top that. Mimi may get mad at me, but at least for today, you are the universe's best university president. Evanston has clear challenges, and we will meet them. Picture this. I had to walk into a packed council chamber, take the microphone away from the committee chair, stop all discussion of the issues the audience came to discuss. I remember thinking this could be a really bad idea. I interrupted to introduce everyone to Ray Boo Knox, a 40-year resident of Evanston who had played in the Negro League as a catcher for the Chicago American Giants. The audience, whose meeting had been interrupted, put all their issues aside, abandoned hope for a short meeting, and leapt to their feet to give Ray a long standing ovation. I gave him the key to the city. We have great people in Evanston. Mr. Knox and everyone in that audience are excellent examples. It means something to be from Evanston. There are shared values that unite us, and that is why we have been able to meet past challenges and why we will be able to meet future ones. Once a year, I go to ETHS to spend 3 hours talking with hundreds of students about growing up in the city of Evanston, what works well and not so well for them. This year, one of the questions they asked was about the state of Illinois' inability to pass a budget and the impact of the state's ever-increasing debt on all of us. You have a well-informed, bright student body, Eric. That's a pretty good question, one that everyone is asking. The problem is, I don't know the answer. For cities, the problem is the unpredictability of revenues. The state of Illinois is obligated under law to adopt a budget for the next fiscal year, each May 31st. The city of Evanston has adopted a budget in November for the 2016 fiscal year, without knowing what impacts an eventual state budget would have on our budget. The city continues to be cautious in its spending and has included in its 2016 budget $1.5 million to cover any reductions in revenue from the state. We really have no idea if this is enough, but it is a start. At some point, the state of Illinois will have to address the billions of dollars expenses exceed revenues in its operating budget and the billions of dollars in pension deficits it faces. When the state finally does this, the city of Evanston's budget will be at risk, as the state had better not, Daniel, Robin, had better not, but they might shift revenues from cities to the state. The loss of confidence in government may be the most serious and damaging result of this stalemate. When we lose faith in democracy, we've lost a great deal. My answer to people who've lost faith in their government is to tell them about Walter, the crossing guard. Think about it. You do not see the mayor, the alderman, or our state representatives every day. Crossing guards are a face of government. We see them every day. Just try moving a crossing guard if you want to find out whether or not government does necessary and important work. Try cutting the number of crossing guards if you want to learn about government's importance. Here's Walter's story. Alderman Rainey's email and mine exploded with, "Where's Walter? What have you done? This is a major issue and you had better fix it." I did not know who Walter was or what I had done. Apparently, Walter has parents' cell phone numbers on speed dial and will wait with children whose parents are late to pick them up. He directs traffic clearly, safely, and it would be foolhardy to fail to follow his directions. He has an important job. I have not saved any lives today. Walter probably saved 3 or 4 this morning. What had we done? Transferred Walter because he was being harassed by a parent. We got the message and returned him to his post as quickly as possible. Walter is government at its best, and local government is still functioning regardless of what happens at the state and federal level. Democracy still works, and Walter and his supporters prove it's working in Evanston. Democracy needs an activist and sometimes an enraged citizenry. We have that. Reducing our, and it's a good thing. It is. It took me a long time to learn this, but it's a good thing. Reducing our emissions and fighting climate change will continue to be a goal for the Evanston community, the city staff, and the city council. Evanston is just one of a handful of communities around the globe that are working on their 3rd climate action plan. None of this progress would be possible without community leaders like Northwestern and its commitment to purchase 50% of its electricity from green power, or Citizens Greener Evanston's work to make home energy audits accessible to more and more community members. Thanks in large part to the city's contract to purchase 100% green power for small businesses and residents, Evanston is making great progress toward reducing emissions by 20%. The World Wildlife Fund and the International Council for Local Government Initiatives selected Evanston as the U.S. Earth Hour capital out of all other participating cities in the nation. I went to Seoul, South Korea to accept the award. This is like winning the Super Bowl in environmental terms, and it was a lot of fun. Economic development in Evanston is happening everywhere. Based on the city's licensing data, 67 new businesses opened during 2015. In 2014, the number was 43. This year's newcomers include Valley Produce and Evanston's 3rd Whole Foods, filling both of Evanston's former Dominick's locations, boosting sales tax revenue and generating hundreds of new jobs for Evanston residents. Indoor play space and drive-through coffee outpost Little Beans Cafe opened in a long vacant retail building and has quickly become a local favorite. Payment processing firm Acuity also relocated its headquarters and all 250, I repeat, 250 employees to downtown Evanston from Skokie, while consultant Z6 Associates announced plans to stay in Evanston and expand. Also in downtown, PharmaCann opened the first and only medical marijuana dispensary in Evanston. 2016 holds lots of promise. Northlight wants to return to Evanston to the downtown, and we are working to figure out how that will happen. Howard Street Theater project attracted the attention of Straw Dog from Chicago's Lakeview neighborhood, and Ross Barney Architects was the selected architect to work on the initial phase of the project. Several of the large construction projects begun in 2015, such as the Hyatt House, Main and Chicago, and the downtown building that will house Lulu's and Taco Diablo, are slated for delivery in 2016. As those projects finish, new projects are already in the pipeline, including a new mixed-use development in downtown Evanston at 1571 Maple. Evanston Plaza Shopping Center is revitalizing with Valley Produce's new owners leading the way. They have attracted Play It Again Sports, Dollar Tree, and the expansion of Dance Center of Evanston. The owners promise more announcements soon. The news on police and fire pensions is mixed. We thought the police pensions were funded at 51.5% for 2014, and that fire was funded at 49.1%, a significant increase from 2008. Terrible amounts to be funded, but better than they were. We changed actuaries, and the resulting changes in mortality tables meant police are only funded at 47.9% and fire is at 44.8%. The council has consistently put more money into the funds than the actuary required. Did I mention that we have a great council? We do. We are not so lucky with actuaries. Every time I think we are making substantial progress on pensions, we are not. We are making incremental progress. Our general obligation debt was $193 million in 2003. Now it's $152 million. Funding Robert Crown will cost an extra $10 million. We can and we will fund Crown, but our debt will remain over time on a downward trajectory. We are going in the right direction. We're just going there slowly. The good news is debt levels are going down. The bad news is they are way too high. You can be proud to be from Evanston. Our residents welcome Syrians, hold rallies for Muslims, and had our first Latino summit. Our commitment to celebrate diversity brings us together, as does a belief that we can create the community we want to have. We have one of the world's greatest universities, hiring more and more of our residents, helping with the pro-Muslims rally, helping to educate our children in District 65 and 202. Here's the line you messed me up on, Morty. We have the world's greatest university president, definitely the world's greatest, now the universe's greatest. We have a police department that reflects the diversity of the community, but that's not good enough, not in Evanston. They are actively involved in diversity training. We did not get the CDC interns, so we have an NU intern addressing violence as a public health problem. That's Evanston. We are resilient, which is an attribute of increasing importance to cities. We will use that resiliency to continue our commitment to care for one another in our community. That's a long-standing commitment, and that's what really matters. Evanston is an exciting place, and the best is yet to come. Thank you.